Hi, my name is Mitchell, and I'm the opinion editor at The Gateway, bringing you our forum recap for the Residents' Forum that occurred on the evening of February 22nd. The Vice President, Operations and Finance candidates were asked about their thoughts on how the Sustainability and Capital Fund, or SCF, should proceed next year. The SCF was passed last year as a referendum by the Students' Union and created a $25 fee per semester to help maintain student spaces and ensure sustainability, including both environmental and fiscal aspects, remained paramount. Both candidates said they agree with the fee and that there shouldn't be major changes to how it is administered or structured. For Emily Kamani, she would oversee the renovation of the Meyer Horwitz Theater and make sure that students can enjoy the space, once COVID restrictions are lifted, of course. She also mentioned how she would ensure any and all projects created through the fund would respect Indigenous culture.
And if elected, I will ensure that the SCF, specifically Green Fund projects approved by the Sustainability and Capital Fund Committee, reflects values of Indigenous cultures and ensures that any project that aims to appropriate Indigenous cultures does not receive funding.
She would also ensure Indigenous students receive advertising about green funding opportunities so that no barriers to them using the fund exist. Julia Veloso said she doesn't personally have big goals with the fund. She's happy it exists, would maintain it in its current form, and ensure that there's proper oversight of the funding.
In terms of that, since I want the fund to do what its original purpose was, and I want the fund to focus on student projects, and I want to follow the vision that students have for a sustainable SU.
Julia added that she would focus all projects using the fund to ensure they had adequate student consultation. From what they mentioned, it looks like it will mean more of the status quo for the fund. For such a significant fee to the UASU, it's disappointing there aren't more ideas on how to propel the fund forward or ways to get the word out about projects. Partway through the forum, candidates were asked how they would improve on what their predecessor has done. Instead of taking this opportunity to offer constructive criticism of the Students' Union, many candidates instead used their time to offer sweet accolades to this year's executive team.
I personally think our current VPOF, Alana, has done a tremendous job with being thrown a curveball of all the executives this year. Personally, I wouldn't, specifically change anything.
VP Kid has done a lot of amazing work when it comes to the VPSO role. First of all, she accomplished getting the sexual assault prevention coordinator hired, which has been a goal for multiple years in this role.
This year, VP Draper did an amazing job. I had the pleasure of working with him quite a bit.
I do think Joel has done an excellent job as president this year. He has faced a lot of challenges that were essentially unforeseeable.
Of course, understanding the work that's been done before you is important. However, it was disappointing to see that many candidates use their limited time to praise their predecessors, instead of immediately outlining their own vision for their respective roles. Most candidates eventually offered an area for improvement, but students shouldn't need to sit through a preamble to hear their own ideas. Luckily, there were candidates that went immediately into their unique vision for the year. Vice President Student Life candidate Daniela Carbajal, for example, said she would better amplify Indigenous and BIPOC perspectives on campus.
What I would do differently, or I guess just add to the role, is more of a focus on Indigenous and BIPOC voices, in addition to Augustana and CSJ voices. This year, there wasn't much focus on that, especially around policies.
Christian Fotang, the uncontested candidate for the Vice President external position, was also a bright light here. In his statement, he immediately focused on his vision to involve more student groups in the student union's advocacy efforts.
An avenue we can also look into is involving student groups, such as clubs on campus, into our consultations. So one of the big plans I have is to create a working group that includes faculty associations and SRAs, but also campus leaders in different faculties that can help create feedback so that when I'm hopefully going out and talking to politicians, talking to stakeholder groups, and that I'm getting this direct feedback and getting real student input.
Overall, these statements got right to the core of what students wanted to hear. Candidates' unique and original ideas for their position. Candidates shouldn't feel the need to offer praise as a precursor to any potential criticism or ideas for improvement. In the end, students will be voting for your vision, not that of your predecessor. While some candidates didn't offer much criticism of their current SU executives, Rowan Lay brought up an overall criticism of the Students' Union. He said the relationship between the Students' Union and university unions have been weak this year. Specifically, Lay focused on the SU's relationship with the Non-Academic Staff Association and the Association of Academic Staff, University of Alberta, which collectively represent the interests of over 10,000 staff on campus. Though we can't see what happens behind closed doors, the fiery exchanges between student representatives, professors, and administration at the January 25th General Faculties Council meeting might give us a clue into the working relationship between student representatives and university unions. In fact, the day after that meeting, the president of the Association of Academic Staff called the discussion, which was filled with comments from SU executives, quote, inappropriate, uncollegial, and out of order, unquote, in a statement. Rowan believes that the animosity between the SU and unions has harmed advocacy this year.
Our relationship this year, it is no secret, has not been what we would like it to be with the staff and academic staff unions on campus. And that's not helpful for anybody. When we don't have a strong collaborative relationship, it damages our ability to work together, and we waste energy fighting each other instead of working on common problems.
Lay did not give any specific details about why or how the relationships deteriorated, but he did take the time to make it clear that he doesn't blame our current SU president, Joel Agarwal.
I don't think it's entirely Joel's fault, certainly, but it's something that we can learn from and seek to improve on. Regardless of how it came about, it is a problem and does need to be fixed.
That's it for the forum recap. Make sure to keep it locked into the Gateway for more elections coverage.